Cooperative Governance Minister Velenkosini Hlabisa says the 8-year-old boy who fell sick in Soweto after allegedly consuming contaminated snacks is receiving the best medical care. However, he remains in critical condition at the Hani Baragwanath intensive care unit. The minister and his delegation, including Johannesburg Mayor Dada Morero, visited the boy in hospital this morning. And for more on this, we're now joined by SABC News reporter Mbalenhle Mthethwa, and she's been covering that story for us. Mbalenhle, thank you so much for your time this evening. Firstly, let's start off with this very tragic story, the little boy's condition. We understand he is still in ICU.
Yes, certainly. This morning we caught up with the Minister for Cooperative together with his delegation. He was joined by the Mayor of the City of Johannesburg, Dada Morero, as well as MEC for Cooperative, Jacob Mamabolo, and among others, other MMCs, MMC for Economic Development, Nomoya Mnisi, as well as the MMC for Health. They all went to see the young child, and they were welcomed by the mother of the child as well as the uncle of the child. While the child is still critical, and obviously the minister calling on, residents to pray for the well-being of the child, and also urging residents not to put children's lives in danger by aiding and abetting those who are trying to beat the law. He also mentioned that as the department, they have made efforts to try and regulate the Spaza shop industry. However, if there are those who are going to assist those who are in the country illegally and those who do not qualify to run Spaza shops should not be helped by South Africans who want to also earn somewhat of a living or earn an income, because this then puts children's lives in danger and other people's lives in danger. So that was the urge that came from the minister as well as the Johannesburg Mayor Dada Morero, calling on residents to ensure that they respect the law and that all Spaza shops should be compliant to the regulations that have been set out and the city's bylaws.
And Mbali, there was a big frenzy just last year, right? When a number of children in Naledi lost their lives due to snacks, consumed from a Spaza shop. There was a rigorous process that government has undertaken to ensure that, Spaza shops are compliant. What do we know about this specific Spaza shop, specifically with the fact that, locals are now being also brought into the question, saying that, well, it seems as if there are some locals who are helping out illegal Spaza shops? Yes,
indeed. It would seem we have confirmed with the City of Johannesburg. We spoke to the City of Johannesburg, the mayor's spokesperson, Chris Vondo, who confirmed to us on record that the Spaza shop was not registered and that the owner of the Spaza shop closed down the shop and fled the scene. And an investigation is still ongoing right now to determine what was really happening. But so far we do understand that samples have been taken from the Spaza shop as well as from the snacks in question to also just determine what was the cause and if poisoning was there. And we heard everyone really just being urged to really play part. But what is quite interesting, and just going back to what happened last year, is that when the minister and his delegation arrived at the said Spaza shop for the visit, they were met by angry residents who expressed unhappiness over the fact that the ministers only come when there's a crisis in the area, and they also went back to what happened in Naledi last year, and they said, we saw cabinet ministers and different officials coming to speak to community members following that incident, and yet again we're seeing that. And after just a brief conversation and a brief interaction by the delegation that was there between themselves and the community, they all left the scene. Unfortunately, yes.
What does it say about government's efforts in terms of ensuring that Spaza shops are compliant? And I ask this, because it's quite important. We are always told that there are officials who go and monitor Spaza shops in our townships, but it's quite clear that somebody missed this Spaza shop.
Yes, certainly. It would seem that way. Now, well, when we speak to the mayor has made a commitment and made a promise, and that they are going to ensure that they are able to enforce this bylaw and ensure that all the Spaza shops that are operating within the city of Johannesburg are in fact compliant. But we also heard the minister in an earlier conversation saying that he is not quite pleased with the enforcement of these regulations, especially after the registration process was concluded earlier this month. So there is a need for more to happen and to ensure that these Spaza shops are then held accountable. But residents are saying that they have not seen health officials or inspectors coming in to inspect the Spaza shops as it was promised last year when we first saw the outbreak of these foodborne illnesses. But right now it seems as though there's a renewed call for the city of Johannesburg and all officials to do what they promised to do.
Certainly, the city here also being brought into question. Mbali, thank you so much for your time. That is our reporter there, Mbalenhle Mthethwa. She's been keeping tabs on that story coming out from Soweto in Mapetla. Of course, a child, an 8-year-old, who is now in hospital following snacks he consumed allegedly from a Spaza shop.